Yes. So Chip, you're in control.
There we go. Cool. And I'll make sure to keep an eye on the participants too, to make sure nobody's waiting. And throughout this, please just give me a shout if y'all have any questions. This is super informal. We're all still getting used to doing these things over Zoom. I would much rather be in Bandera right now, hanging out with you guys and getting to know everybody in person, but this beats nothing. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Chip Adams. I work for the Texas Music Office. I'm the Community Relations and Outreach Specialist. I've been with the TMO since December. It's been such an incredibly gratifying job. Just so you all know kind of where I come from, I grew up in Texas. I did have to bounce out to LA and New York to pursue my music career. Ended up launching a label here in Austin about 11 years ago. But this past fall, the Texas Music Office had their first opening in probably 15 years. It's the first time they've expanded that office in about that long. And I've always loved their mission. I think it's an incredible organization. So I just had to throw my hat in the ring, and I'm truly honored to be, working within that office. And I'll explain a bit more of what we do, as well as a bit about this Music Friendly Communities program here in just a bit. But before I get rolling, I want to thank Patricia and James for helping put this together. It's been a thrill to get to know you guys, and to me it just means the world to see communities come together to show how much of a focus and how important that music is for their communities. So thank you guys for even just being here tonight. It's Monday. I know y'all would rather be with your families or eating or doing anything but watching this kind of Brady Bunch style looking grid of folks, but I promise I won't keep you very long. My presentation's only about 15 to 20 minutes, the absolute most. And then I'll make sure we have plenty of time for questions as well. So let me fire up the old presentation here. Let's see. Done. There we go. Hopefully y'all can see that all right.
Yes.
So again, we're here to talk about the Music Friendly Communities program, but a little bit about the Texas Music Office. You can read more about us at our website, texasmusicoffice.com. That redirects you to our bizarro government URL. So texasmusicoffice.com is all you need to know. For those of you on social media at all, you can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I will say that Twitter and our website, both, we have a constant flow of information, everything from Texas-related music news to financial assistance to our musicians, grant programs, something we've been really active about the past few months. So I highly suggest everybody checking those out. And within the Texas Music Office website, there's also a place you can sign up for our newsletter. Once a month, we don't spam, just once a month we do publish out a newsletter. And again, it kind of goes over the highlights of recent Texas music news updates and a whole bunch about what's going on with Governor Abbott and his executive orders and reopening, and as much as we can discuss, you'll find through our newsletter. So definitely check that out. Now, a little bit about what the TMO does. We do fall under the Office of the Governor within the Office of Economic Development and Tourism. So the good news is what that means is we're here to help build industry infrastructure and to help create music jobs. And even times like this, that is our prime mission, is to support the Texas music industry and to help it grow and really to keep it on its feet at this point, thanks to good old COVID. Beyond that, one of our biggest things we do is try to help connect and network industry professionals across the state. One of our resources for doing that is the Texas Music Industry Database. It's something you can find on our website. It's something that's free. It's open to the public. And I believe at this point we have about 16,000 entries in it. And this includes musicians and bands, venues, recording studios, instrument repair shops, and everything you can possibly imagine that touches upon the Texas music industry. And it's something we found it's an amazing resource. We're the only state that has something like this. And so definitely take advantage of it. And that's kind of a part of what we really need with the Texas Music Friendly Communities program is y'all's help to make sure that the information we have is correct. So I'll get on to that in just a minute. Another piece that the TMO does, we have a license plate grant program. I have to mention this every time that I get a chance to, because it's something we're super proud of. What are we doing if we're not supporting the next generation of Texas musicians? And so one way we've developed is a way to give some money back through our grant program. So you can go get yourself these really cool looking Texas music license plates. All of the money goes to a grant system to where we give it to underserved communities to help put on events, and also to children who require or need music lessons or music instruments. And so a couple times a year, we're able to give out money to those types of folks. And it's amazing to be able to really make change like that. So definitely check out the grant program. And then finally, while we're here today, is the Music Friendly Communities program, which what we're doing is it's the first of its kind. We're developing the first truly connected music state in the country. In fact, we're really the only organization around the planet that's tried to do something like this. So it's really thrilling to have you guys here to hopefully make Bandera be a part of it. A little bit more about the TMO. We are 30 years old this year, which I think is a real testament to the commitment that the state of Texas has towards supporting our music industry. They really realize it's a part of our culture, it's a part of our heritage, and it's a part of Texas economy. In fact, on this slide here, it really shows you statewide what the Texas music economy does for the state. I mean, that quantity of jobs bringing in $4.1 billion in annual earnings just shows, especially at the state level, that when it comes to legislation, we really need to listen to our musicians and to support music as a whole, because it's a huge industry for the state. And again, that's why the TMO is here, to make sure that we're taking care of everything that we can. I'm not going to read this verbatim. For those of you on this, I am more than happy to send you guys this deck in its entirety. So if you want to be able to re-go through this presentation, you feel free to email me, and I can send you this entire presentation, and you can go through all those. But that's just a bit more of the mission statement of the Music Friendly Communities program. But again, I'm going to go into every bit and piece about it anyway. So the communities so far that we have officially certified, the family has grown quite a bit this year, and that's why they brought me in to the TMO, is to help grow this program. And so right now, certified, we got Abilene, Alpine, Austin, Conroe, Denton, Fort Worth, Lindale, McKinney, Nacogdoches, San Angelo, San Antonio, Stephenville, Waco, and Waxahachie. It's a wonderful group of cities, and I love the diversity of the size of cities as well. Our biggest priority is just making sure that it's cities that do have an active music scene, an active music economy, and that's it. We don't care how big or small the city is. You're here to support music. We want you guys involved. And the really cool thing too, I mean, this week we're going to certify, next is going to be Bastrop, and then we'll have Lubbock by end of the month as well. So even during these times of being stuck inside, I mean, my travel's been completely cut off for a while until Governor Abbott allows us to start moving around again. But I just love that we're still growing the certified communities at this rate, with a goal of hopefully having 20 cities in 2020. Our director, Brendan Anthony, that was kind of his idea this year, was to really try to beef up the program and get to 20. And I can't wait to see Bandera as a part of this. So what does it mean for you guys to become a certified music-friendly community? It is a little bit of work. It's more than just a certificate. It's more than just saying, hey, we like music, because, well, every city in the state of Texas likes music, but not every city has a music industry. And so it's those that can come through and show that, they have a music economy they want to take care of and they want to support, and they want to be a part of this larger group of cities as well. Well, we want y'all. What we're doing is helping cities create a system or a framework to better listen to their music communities and to react to concerns, problems, etc. We want cities to really better understand this incredibly important industry. We want to create a framework that helps the city work with stakeholders to help create real impact for the music industry, and to also help y'all learn from others within the state. And what I've loved on our calls with the different cities, I mean, simple things as sharing ideas on what's worked, coming up with ways for financial relief for musicians. Before COVID hit, I was a part of a cluster of cities that we're talking about tour routes. And so the Convention and Visitors Bureaus were talking to each other about, wouldn't it be cool if on a Wednesday, artists were in this city, Thursday, this city, Friday, this city, and creating little tour loops for their musicians. And I think that's just absolutely brilliant. So really, I think we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg of what this program can do. But again, that's why it's not just a cool little certificate. We're here to work, but we're here to work to help bolster, support, and amplify the Texas music industry. So how it works, the steps: first step is empowering a music office or a liaison within a division of the city government. We've seen this in a number of different ways. Like here in Austin, within the city's economic development, they actually do have a music office. I think there's 3 or 4 people in it now. But we know in reality, that's going to be a really rare thing to see across the state. Even in Fort Worth, San Antonio, they don't have that. So what we've been doing is going through divisions of city government or organizations empowered by city government, like convention and visitor bureaus, chambers of commerce. Those have been really ideal homes within each city for this program to live, because we do need that one central point of contact to be, our point person to talk to when we're talking about what's going on in Bandera or cities around the state. That person then meets and helps the community define itself. That person is that key point person to help navigate city policy and to lead the overall strategy for what the Music Friendly Communities program would look for Bandera. The next step is to develop an advisory board. We don't have a mandated way that this has to look. All that we ask is that it is a good representation of what the music industry is in Bandera, and that you guys meet regularly and provide a meaningful forum. So you've got a handful of people that are on the board, but we know there's more musicians than that in Bandera. So, whether it's monthly, it's quarterly, whatever works best for you guys, but to have interaction between the music industry at large with this advisory board. And again, it's to discuss what's working and what's not working. A prime example of this would be, and I'll touch on this in a minute, but like in Conroe, musicians were getting aggravated over the mass gathering permitting process within the city. And it was prohibiting musicians and promoters from just simply putting on shows. So when the community met with this advisory board, they could take that recommendation to their liaison, sent that through the city, and within like a month, they reworked out a brand new mass gathering permit process, and then problem solved. It helped open the floodgates for shows in that city. And that's just a teeny example of the possibilities this can have within the city. We found that, rather than having a bunch of people shouting at the city, it's a lot more organized and a lot more constructive when you've got a system in place. Community can speak to the board relays that to liaison goes to the city. It's much more clean, no one's getting angry, and things actually get accomplished. Now, again, we know that everyone's busy, and even during times of COVID, we're all still pretty busy. So we do ask that regardless, we need to make sure this is creating opportunities for interaction. We are looking to help the city spread the message of their music industry and also to support each other. And that's the city, regional, and state level. And I think especially right now, with musicians hurting, venues struggling, it's vital that we're finding ways to help each other. And I'll let you know that through the TMO, any bit of music news that we can share through our sources, and this goes for everybody on the call, you just make sure that you keep us in the loop. Our contact information is at texasmusicoffice.com, or send it to Patricia and James, and they can forward it my way. But, I think supporting any bit of news, whether it's, a live stream of a musician or some other event, just make sure we know, because this, of all the times we've had, this is really a vital time to support each other. We do have a checklist we go through to get you guys certified. It's not that daunting, but there are steps we need to go through. We're knocking out one of those right now, which is hosting the Music Friendly Communities Workshop. Already talked about needing to establish a liaison within the city. We talked about the advisory board. The next step is that we would need that liaison to register within the Texas music industry database, our directory. And then what will happen at that point is we create a memorandum of understanding, essentially just a contract that shows that the city's fine with sharing data with the state and vice versa. And what we're sharing is information from that database. You can imagine when we have, 16,000 plus entries, bands are always starting, bands are always breaking up, venues pop up, venues go away, and it's really difficult for a team of 4 plus a couple of interns to make sure that that is 100% correct. And so a part of the music-friendly process is also us pulling Bandera's information off and sending it to you to see who we've missed, what's outdated, and what we need to get rid of. And then a couple times a year, we're able to create a much more accurate directory than we had before. So, it'd be great to have an office, 20 people to handle this, but we're happy to have 4. And again, it's just something we do a couple times a year. And I think it's extraordinarily helpful. And it's also great because it gives us a much more accurate statewide snapshot of what Texas music industry actually has going on. And I think it's incredibly important. And then honestly, the bottom part, talking about a comprehensive local music industry economic impact study, that's not a requirement. It varies city by city. Some cities it makes 0 sense whatsoever, but for Dallas, who we have they're going through the program right now. It's such a large city with such a large industry. It made sense for them to go through that process, but y'all can ignore that part from now. And if you want more information on how that can work, I'm happy to talk about it at a later date, but let's just move on. The benefits, I think they speak pretty loud and clear. It just shows support for this important industry. It's creating a more supportive and connected community. It's really helping grow cultural development and artistic growth as well. One thing we've seen city really benefit from is new tourism strategies. City of Fort Worth really has taken it upon themselves. They really realized how important their musicians were in terms of being ambassadors for their city. And so, they've really embraced music as a part of them promoting themselves for tourism when we can have tourism again. Improving city brand building, and then really showing the true economic impact of what music does to our cities. Results of the program, like I mentioned, Fort Worth, one thing they did, and again, not all these are going to involve money, but Fort Worth decided to put a little bit of money where their mouth is, while growing their I think their presence around the state, and sort of giving their artists, they could apply for grants for gas cards. For musicians, you know how just brutal gas can be when you're touring around the state. So Fort Worth felt it'd be a smart thing to do to help take a little bit of the bite out of that, and put a system in place where people could apply for gas card credits, which I thought was a great idea. Even bigger than that, Denton found a way to help provide to a select number of musicians affordable healthcare insurance. But again, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, costing nothing but directly impacting city policy was what Conroe did with their mass gathering permits. One thing we've seen across the state is the cities in this program have helped put together programming online for their musicians, helping anything from tip jars to full stream events, just helping artists find ways to capitalize on being stuck online and making money. San Antonio put together an emergency grant program, and we've been seeing a lot of that as well. So really, again, what we're doing is giving you guys a framework to build off of, to see what makes sense for Bandera, and also putting Bandera in a place to where you guys have a network of, by the end of this year, 20 cities to communicate with, of varying sizes. And I think that collaborative spirit is really kind of what drives this program along. So, I'm excited to see where we take this over the next few months. I'm really thrilled that we're here in the beginning steps of getting Bandera through the program. And that's really, in a nutshell, what we do. Again, there's Lyle and Gary Clark Jr. with our license plate. And that's what I got. So really, I kind of want to blaze through it as quickly as we could, because these things always bring a lot of questions. So at this point, I'm really happy to have a conversation, dialogue, questions, comments, concerns, as much as I can. So fire away, if there are any questions.
I have a question about the mention how it says the office would help the community define its music scene or define itself. Can you kind of expound on that?
I think for some cities, that to me applies to more of the cities that really did not know what they had to begin with. When they don't realize how strong their music community is, it's allowing them to meet that music community and realize, I think, and I'll go back to Fort Worth a lot because they're one of the cities that have really just run with the program, but I don't think they realize the depth musically of what that city had. And so it's really helped them realize, we know country music's massive in Fort Worth, but they didn't realize they had this massive urban side as well. And so from city music support through tourism and marketing, they've really realized how many genres they have in that city, and that they need to be embracing all pieces of that. So I think it's been eye-opening for some cities to see what they got, but I think that's a really cool thing too.
Okay, so not necessarily a branding thing. I mean, just by people coming together, they can kind of see more collectively who they are as a community.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
Awesome.
Well,
do y'all also work around with promoters and radio?
We have promoters in our database. We don't do a whole lot one-on-one with radio folks, but I'll tell you one thing I've seen a lot lately is we've been dealing a lot with more of the non-commercial radio stations that are hurting right now just due to the economy. And so we've been trying to help pair them up with at least some grant ideas. But for musicians that, like most of us that don't have a lot of money, I mean, that's a tough nut to crack to get promoters and get on the radio. It's tough. It is. It's tough. In a previous life, that's what I did for a living too. So I know it's difficult. It can be expensive and frustrating. But through and I'm happy too if when you're trying to find any assistance at that level, you can always reach out to us and we can pull data for every single radio promoter that at least is listed with us and get you connected in that way. So.
I've got a list. I've released some singles. I was just wondering if y'all deal with that very much on your side.
Not a whole lot. We're dealing with more of the music and not the broadcast side. But now that I've been a part of it, and that's more of my history. I mean, I was a radio broadcaster for years before when I was in Dallas before I left and jumped to the other side and promoted. But I think it's something that we could work a little bit more on in terms of helping connect folks. And I would.
Yeah, it would be kind of neat for some of the singer-songwriters that can't really afford it if they had somewhere to go that they could actually get something played.
No, I think it's great feedback, and I think that's something that we could probably do a little more work on, and at least to help maybe put together even just a web resource again for those who are just looking for that kind of help and assistance, because it is tough. And that's regardless of musical genre or just area of the state. It's radio is it's what we all want, but it's brutal. So that's really that's a good point, and I think it's something we could spend a little time working a little more on to maybe put together some more resources on that.
Yeah.
Good.
So is there any like host venues around the state that would be willing to do like swaps, like they have certain musicians that come in and play? Is there anything like that been put together yet?
You know what? Right before the pandemic hit, we were in the middle of working on that. That was one of the coolest things that I was really trying to help out with, was getting these clusters of cities together to start helping develop these tour paths that just didn't exist. Yeah. And so, I think once we get Bandera fully into the program, and so, when we have you guys on these regular calls with our cities, that's something I love to talk about. And man, the second we can flip that switch and start seeing more real touring happening across the state, without a doubt, 100%.
Cool. Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it. It's, not everybody can get themselves a booking agent. And so we're trying to help bypass that problem and just create these paths for artists to plug into. So definitely.
Yeah. Cool.
One of our biggest hopes here, we spent hours trying to put together a diverse list of the musicians we knew and ferret out. For the local people, they know that we try to put out, or we don't try, we put out a weekly calendar of events that the heavy focus is on the live music scene here in Bandera County of every single genre. You know, I'm looking at Tudor, it can be at the dance halls, it can be the Silver Sages Cowboy Opry. It doesn't matter where it is, but if it's a live venue. So continuing to take those emails that we've generated and get an advisory board crossing all the genres is, you know, really a goal here. Since we are recording it, this will go, we can place it on YouTube so people will have a clearer idea. So like your idea, Lisa, of swapping musicians or swapping so you'd have a better idea of venues.
Right.
That's the whole goal of this, is to take us, broaden our circle. You know,
Yeah.
we are already well known for being music of all types in Bandera County. So,
Right.
and to hopefully get just more venues. We're having them come on board all the time.
Right. Right.
Well, and hopefully going through this process, you know, and even if the advisory board up front is smaller with the goal to grow it, you know, hopefully seeing the cities, you know, the areas embracing of this program will hopefully be like a magnet to draw everybody in and just show that this is something real. Bandera really does care about music, and hopefully then those gaps will get filled in. That's kind of what we've seen that too. So
That's cool. Yeah, I was excited when I read, because I've been kind of connected with the Texas Music Office for a while, for several years, being an artist. And so when I read that y'all were starting this whole thing, I thought that was really exciting. And I play some in San Antonio, so I know they started a busking program down on the Riverwalk, or I don't even remember where. It's just somewhere in San Antonio. But I thought that was pretty cool, because for a long time you couldn't really do busking in San Antonio. So
it's things like that we keep seeing when, again, musicians are like, why can't we do that? And the city just doesn't realize that it's great exposure. It's some extra money. It makes no sense to penalize musicians from adding to what makes San Antonio, San Antonio. You want to be on the Riverwalk and have a drink and listen to some music. So, and it's the same thing in Austin. Austin, it was illegal until, was it a year or two ago, and they finally put together the same thing where they put together a busking program. And I mean, it's just ridiculous to walk down 6th Street and see music inside the venues, but it's not legal to hear music on the street. So
right, yeah.
I think it's things like that musicians can take to the city that just makes this program so special.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. I agree.
So since I already have a couple of board members listening in with me, I think that's, again, what the intent of the office is to find out more how we can serve our music people better. We don't have the funds to fund a lot of people like in Denton Wood or Fort Worth giving gas cards, but there's got to be a lot of ways. I know there's been talk of an internet radio station just for Bandera.
Oh, cool.
And actually the pandemic would be the ideal time to burst forth with that.
Yeah.
So, you know,
and see, and things, I think things like that also are what makes this program great, because there's a few cities that have developed systems like that we can connect Bandera with to see, okay, what does it take infrastructure wise to put together this live, you know, this online radio that would be just for Bandera. So that's, to me, I mean, I know the examples that I gave, you know, those do, you know, tend to have a little money involved, but most of what we see doesn't, you know. And again, it's really just hearing what the city needs and what the city can do to help shine that spotlight on their musicians and get the attention that you know, Bandera music deserves. So again, that connecting with this group of cities is a huge step in that process.
Chip, if I can jump in and just ask, you keep talking about cities. Bandera, we're a suburb of Bandera by about 20 miles, a little town by the name of Torpley. And my question is there some flexibility in saying, instead of going with the city, going with the county as far as having that liaison at that level? Or is there things, because I don't know this industry that well, does it work better at the city level than at the county level?
To me, in paper, it's going to be city focused, and that's what's happening with Bastrop. It's just the way that our director kind of created this, and it's something that we're always reevaluating. But he felt that the key point with this was us having that consistency within the liaison, and he just saw having it from state to city was much more consistent than county. But that does not mean that Bastrop City is not bringing in Bastrop as a county to support within the program. So, when we're looking at the memorandum between the state and the city, that's going to be city focused, but just knowing that that's not excluding, all of the pieces surrounding in Bastrop County.
So if there's a venue, say like the Forum Country Club, that's probably 5 miles out of Bandera?
Yeah.
That would be an issue. They would be, they could be part of this as well.
Oh, 100%. Definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
We spent,
It's kind of a gray area, but we definitely, especially for y'all, you guys in Bastrop, when they came to us really wanting county to be represented, it's just more of the mechanics of how it works lies within city, but knowing that it's going to encompass everything that y'all deem as the Bandera music industry.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. No problem. It's a good question.
we addressed that in the office, knowing full well that there was the limitation on the name, but that it would be countywide, and the invitations went to everyone that we could think of in Bandera County. So, and I would hope that, and we will try to make the advisory board be representative of the different areas of the county as well. So.
Great.
And so Chip, the venues themselves, they have, if somebody owns a venue here in Bandera County, why would they want to join our group? What would be a benefit for them being a part of this?
Well, I think it's them understanding, what this does as a whole. And again, looking at it, even what we've already talked about in terms of trying to create even tourism, or touring paths and whatnot. I think it's a great way for them to see potentially a new line of business, a new line of artists to come through, and a larger network to promote them as well. I think that's a huge benefit. And again, too, it's also knowing that they can come and utilize the TMO as another arm that they can use to market what they've got going on.
Okay, yeah.
It's a part of being something larger, which right now, cutting through all the bad news with some good news and having, an organization like this to be a part of, I think it's great. So hopefully just that alone should be enough to entice them to at least dip their toes in the water to see, what we're doing. And again, as you guys are having conversations, and if there's venues that you would like to see a part of it, but they're kind of on the fence, you can always send them my way, and either myself or Brendan are always happy to jump on the phone and talk through the program.
Great.
Yeah, our phones are on a lot. So, thank goodness I don't have to pay for that phone bill.
Yeah, I'm trying to put an event together for this fall at the Pipe Creek Event Center, but it's going to actually be for the musicians in Bandera. I mean, half the proceeds are going to go to the musicians.
Awesome.
Oh.
I have another meeting with them this weekend to try to iron out money, what they want, and go from there. So
That's exciting.
yeah, it depends on what this Corona stuff does, but right now I think they're wanting too much money, because I want most of the money to go to the musicians. And it's going to be an all-day event. It's going to be a 12-hour event.
Oh, wow.
So,
Wow.
As that comes into focus, and if there's any clarification we can provide when it comes to COVID, Brendan Anthony, our director, he's on the governor's strike force for reopening as well. So consider him a resource if there's anything he can assist with.
And that's the main thing. It's going to be an outdoor event. I mean, they're building a big outdoor stage right now that's going to be finished here before too long. But if it's depending on the COVID stuff, is are people gonna show up? I hate to have all these musicians come out and play and not have that many people, so.
It's a tough thing to predict right now. It is.
Yeah, it's kind of tough, so. And you guys from Bandera, I'm gonna tell you what they're asking me, what they want, and maybe y'all can help me in this respect. They're wanting to charge a $30 cover, and I'm just wondering if people from Bandera are gonna pay that.
For an all-day event?
An all-day event. I'm talking probably 4 bands, maybe 5, playing an hour and a half each, with some acoustic stuff going on inside the dance hall. Yeah. And half of that money is going to go to the musicians.
I don't think that's too much money, but I don't
And
know.
they said they can put in about 300 people. So.
Yeah. I don't think that's too much money for an all-day event. I think that's very reasonable. That's what I think, with that many.
I mean, I would pay it, but I've been around Bandera enough to know these guys and kind of what they,
they're used to going for free.
Yeah. So, but I'm going to have a meeting this weekend, and I'll get back with James and stuff and let him know how it's going.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and the challenge we have is just what Lisa brought up. Bandera residents are used to getting their music free. So it's a challenge when a Bandera resident has to fork out money to listen to bands.
And I'm just hoping, since this is kind of a benefit deal for musicians, that they wouldn't mind forking out that money. So
I actually don't think they would matter. They would go ahead and fork the money out.
And that's probably going to be food too, so that's not a bad deal. So.
No, not at all.
Maybe for folks knowing this is to help get back to that point to when the free music can be flowing again.
Yeah.
The exciting thing about just I don't know who the gentleman is who's putting on the event, but
Dennis, this is Dennis Allen.
Okay, Dennis.
Hey, Dennis.
Hey.
That the venue, Chip, that you provided, how exciting it would be to have this kind of discussion, I think, with the music industry in Bandera when somebody's thinking about that kind of event, that there would be this group to say, yeah, $30, yeah, sure, we can, that'll, so how exciting just having this happen right now from my perspective.
Yep, and again, that just shows the benefit of having that group, that board, that whatever you want to call it. It's just it's a wonderful sounding board to have to discuss things like this. So
and from this office's perspective,
in a way, it's kind of like a city liaison. The board is what I'm saying.
And actually, from this office's perspective, we can help promote it via distributing your posters, doing all of those chores that we normally do on Facebook, et cetera, et cetera. So
that'd be pretty cool. And I mean, it's kind of up in the air. I'm having another meeting this weekend with them, and with the COVID stuff going on, it's just, to me, it's still kind of up in the air whether it can happen or not. So it's kind of scary if we put it on and nobody shows up. I
think after November, it's going to be miraculous recovery from COVID. So,
well, that's when we plan on having it, is November 14th is the tentative date.
It'll be the first part of November.
Early.
Chip, while you have a few of our local artists here on with us, what are some resources they can find on TMO that can help them as artists?
We've got a lot of information just on the website itself. I would suggest for those who've never explored the TexasMusicOffice.com site to go through it. We've got everything from the directory through tutorials to, I mean, you name it, how to start a record label. We've tried to be, a big resource in general. And one thing I emphasize is that we are also an open book, and we always welcome phone calls and emails when there are questions or things we can be of service. So, we're funded by y'all's tax dollars. So, we're here to help. So, definitely be in touch. And, for those who aren't in the directory already, make sure they are. It's amazing how many event, producers utilize our directory just to find musicians. So it's another place to be found, which I think is really important.
Mhm.
Chip, what would you say should be our next move?
Just for going through this process.
Mhm.
I mean, really, it's going to be finalizing who that liaison central point of contact is going to be, and then start to work on that advisory board. Because while you guys are working on that, now that we know that Bandera does want to move forward, I can start getting to work on the boring stuff, which is the paperwork. And we are a state organization, so it takes a hot minute for paperwork to go through the proper channels. It's still literally paperwork on paper with us. So, and it requires a half a dozen signatures to get signed off on. So I can get that process started as you guys are putting together that board and fine tuning who that liaison is going to be. And, between Patricia and James, y'all just keep me up to speed on how things are shaping up. Because really, we talk about the establishment of the Bandera Music Directory, and really what that's going to be is simply me pulling the data off of our side, and you guys making sure what we've got is up to date. We don't require some crazy website for y'all to develop because we've already got it here, searchable by city. And from that point, we move forward and start talking the fun stuff about certification. So, like I said, with communities, some have taken years and some have taken a month to a month and a half. The shining example to me was McKinney. They rocked through this, and I think start to finish within 4 to 6 weeks we had them certified. So
Wow.
it's when cities want to get it done, we get it done. And so liaison and the board are the two pieces that can take a bit of time. Once you guys have that kind of a focus, we can wrap this thing up and plug y'all in, which I think that's when things get fun.
Cool. Patricia, I have a question for you. Is Cindy and Chuck, are they unmuted from your side? Because I see they're here, but it's showing that they're muted and they may have questions.
Let me see. I think I passed it back to you.
Oh, Cindy's unmuted.
I just have no questions. I'm here to listen.
Oh, okay.
Well, Jessica asked to be muted, and Chuck hasn't asked to be unmuted either. Let me see if he wants to be. I've tried to unmute him, but he hasn't asked to. So
Okay, so he may have his side muted.
Well, and Patricia, I've got you as host, so feel free.
Oh, I'm the host now.
Feel free to mute and unmute all you want.
Oh, ask to unmute. Okay, so let's see if Chuck has a question. It usually takes a minute. But I was able to unmute everybody else a minute ago, so.
Hello.
Hello, Chuck.
Hey, I was just working on another story and listening to you guys, and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go to dance and drink.
Okay.
Yeah, so you guys, I don't know if you knew that the press was listening, but man, it sounds like a lot of fun.
Well, good.
And if you understood how happy I am to Zoom, James sent me the little thing, and all of a sudden, my wife, she's going around the house. We got a big house, and I'm saying, look what I did. Look what I did. So that was the big thing here. So thank you, James. You're my hero. Nuts.
That's
Okay.
craziness.
You guys don't see me, do you? Because I look pretty cool.
Nope, you're not on screen. Thank you.
I'm a really handsome old guy. Okay.
You
Okay.
have a face for radio.
Okay. But back to
I love that.
Curtis's.
I'm going to steal that.
Okay. Back to Curtis's comment about our next step is hopefully we will get this on YouTube within a day or two so the people that listen to it we can share it, or they can go to YouTube. We can send out a follow-up email to the folks. I know Lee Hale was really interested in being here. He's not here. Larry Haddad really wanted to be here. I think David Wayne and Doc would be very interested in it, more of the singer-songwriter. So we've got a whole list, but they can now listen to this, and I think we'll be able to put together an advisory board fairly quickly. It doesn't have to be a huge group of people.
No, it does not.
And make a concerted effort to put that together. And then now that we have email addresses, we will put them into a MailChimp so we can send out action steps. And that the newspapers will get that as well. So
Well, and
that sound logical?
as you guys are talking to more folks to bring in too, more questions pop up, feel free to just be in touch with me. I'm happy to, again, schedule other calls or just answer emails. Just let me know how I can be of help to help keep you all on track. But that all sounds good. Sounds great.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, great. Well, I'll let y'all get to your evenings.
Danny, do you have anything, or Tudor you want to add?
No, I think it sounds like a great program.
Oops, I muted you. Sorry about that.
Yeah, mute there.
Now you're not. Talk up.
Okay, the only thing I was really excited about the possibility of being able to play in other places, getting different venues and stuff like that. That's an exciting bit of this to be able to go out. Like Patricia said, most people around Bandera used to going to something for free to go see musicians. I mean, we have on Friday and Saturday night, you can just walk up and down the street, go down and see 3 different bands playing any weekend. This deal that's in Pipe Creek for $30 may be a hard sell unless we get outside advertisement or people from other places that want to come and see.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a hard sell. But the people that own Pipe Creek, the event center, said they were going to send out flyers and they would take care of all that. So.
Though, I don't know, Tudor, because everybody has to know that you guys have been hurting, that have been in the music field. And I tell you, if you break a fingernail and you put out a poster, it's a benefit. They'll come a running.
That is true.
Oh, no, Chip, you're laughing. Wasn't it the benefit, gosh, boop, for Doug Livingston at the Arkies raised $30,000 in an afternoon.
Yeah.
Think how small Arkies is.
Yeah, Boot and Saddle did something similar.
Yeah, so I mean, we are a very giving community.
We are.
Yeah, I think if we promote it right, they'll show up.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try to get more money. We're still kind of negotiating with them to see what we can do.
Okay.
But I'm going to try to get more money than what they're offering. So.
Okay.
Oh, that's awesome. Again, let us know, if there's anything we can do to help, anything we can clarify, just keep us looped in. We're always happy to help the best that we can.
There's one thing that I'm so glad it's not on the list anymore. Relationships with universities. We don't have any.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be a little tricky.
Yeah.
So there you go. Anybody else got anything for the good?
Can you guys see me?
Yes, I can, Chuck.
Oh man, I was looking.
Yes.
The guy with the beard. This is no. I'm sorry. I'm like a kid here. All you guys. I feels like I just jumped from the 18th to the 22nd.
Yeah, Chip, you're looking at a bunch of Zoom first timers.
Yeah.
I really do appreciate you guys getting this worked out. I know it's different, new, but it's kind of our reality for just a little bit. So, so this does mean a lot. Really do appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I appreciate your efforts.
Yes, thank you, Chip.
Hi, I'm Julius. Hello.
Oh, so Julius listened in. Great.
I've been here a long time.
Oh, okay.
Shadows.
You're looking like
Shadows.
Taking notes in the background.
I did it.
Okay.
Oh,
Couldn't we be related?
We're doing this without alcohol too, by the way.
I'm leaving, guys. I'm gonna blow this place up.
All right. Okay. So look for it on YouTube in a day or two. Oh, well, we're all still online.
guessing.
If you have never done it, this is coming up shortly. If I can get it, I'm not even going to do it. I'll go back to my screen. The 16th, Buck and Shirley are coming back to town.
Oh, nice.
And believe it or not, we'll be out at
How
Mansfield
old is
Park
he
the
now?
whole week. So if you've never gone out and gone to their reunions, the potluck starts at 5 for the dinner. So this,
I like
is,
that.
this is a group that's been coming to Bandera for over 40 years. And when they first started coming, it was members of
old is
the
he now?
original bands bringing their, correct me if I'm wrong, Lisa. Of course, there were the guitars, the drums, the everything else's, but clarinet, saxophones, tutor, you know, go on.
Yeah.
It was real
Knows better than I
band
do.
country swing music,
Oh
Mhm.
yeah.
and nobody goes anymore. So we need to make an effort to go out
Yeah.
and wish them well. So,
Absolutely. Art and I try to stop by usually, but most of the time we've been playing this year. That won't be a problem.
well, that's why I said maybe we could put it all out that this will be the night we'll take the potluck. All all the musicians show up. That would, I think, that would just astound them.
Oh yeah,
That's
that would be.
That's the kind of community we are, Chip. So,
I love it. Absolutely love it.
all righty. Talk to you later.
All right. Great to meet you guys.
Thank you, guys. You'll be hearing from us.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
See you soon. Hey, Lisa back. Hey, Lisa. I love you.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, Lord.
That was too fun.
Bye bye, everybody.